Hey, what's up dudes? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. Today we're going to be doing my 2022 Dead by Daylight wish list. And we're going to keep this simple. We're not going to be doing like 10 different characters or anything. I've kind of structured this in the way that it's actually realistic. Realistic in the choices I make? Maybe not, but realistic in the layout of how many chapters we will get in 2022 with a bonus chapter. So we're going to have 4 chapters today, 2 licensed chapters, and 2 original chapters with the bonus. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I want to start out with the most hype ones, which, of course, to me, are the licensed chapters. Now, of course, we're not going to be counting the Ringu in this, because the Dead by Daylight New Year chapter release schedule does reset at the anniversary event. So that is when 2022 technically starts for Dead by Daylight. And the first character I have is the man himself, of course, Candyman. Now, we wanted this character in Dead by Daylight for years. There are many champions in the Dead by Daylight community for this character, for this franchise, including Polyester, and I myself am a champion for this character. I want Candyman in Dead by Daylight. I really do like what the new Candyman movie did with the character, and it really does open up the potential for multiple skins in the game for the character. As slight spoilers for Candyman, there are different versions of the character. It's more like a mantle instead of just one specific character, but we of course do have the OG Tony Todd. I feel like there's a lot of different things that they can do with this character in game. I've talked about a few on my streams and even in some of my previous videos where I mentioned the character, but overall I do think there's a lot of cool powers that this character could potentially have. Everything from having mirrors around the map, teleporting between the mirrors, to a flying mechanic of some kind. There's just so many things that they can do, especially with the mouse 2 powers, something to do with bees. Of course, there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of theories that we can have for this character and what he could possibly do in the game, but regardless, I just want him in the game. Now, the next licensed chapter for me personally is, of course, Pennywise. I'm a huge fan of this character. I'm a huge fan of the It franchise, and if you guys did not see the It chapter spotlight from Rareth Links, I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong. I have a horrible time with pronunciation, but one of my friends, Wheat Draws, worked on the art concept, the logos for like the perks and stuff like that. Did an amazing job, and the overall chapter spotlight, I watched it live with everyone. It was incredible, and they really did go out of their way to show how cool this character could be in Dead by Daylight. Of course, I'm showing that on the screen right now, but I'm going to leave a link to that full chapter concept video in the description down below. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's got a ton of views, and it's deserved because it's incredible. It really does show everything that I could possibly say for an argument for Pennywise to be brought to Dead by Daylight. It does all of that in gameplay form, man. It's incredible what those dudes do. So make sure to check that out. It pretty much explains exactly what I want from the character. They did incredible work, and I really just hope that that shows how much people want Pennywise in this game, because it's incredible. I hope it shows what they could do themselves, BHVR, what they could do with the character in the game. Now, we'll have a bonus licensed character near the end of the video, so all of you who are already freaking out, don't freak out, watch to the end of the video and we'll talk about that bonus character. You probably know who it is. But anyway, our first original chapter that I would like to see in Dead by Daylight in 2022 is the Wendigo. Now, the Wendigo has gotten a lot of spotlight in recent years when it comes to video games like Until Dawn, TV shows like Supernatural. The Wendigo has had some spotlight, but if you're like me and you're Native American and you had that upbringing, the Wendigo was more than likely a part of the scary stories that your grandparents possibly told. The Wendigo is a boogeyman of sorts for Native Americans. These creatures are terrifying when you actually know what they are, what they do, their powers, etc. And I think it could all translate fairly well into Dead by Daylight. Now, Wendigos in mythology, they do have like this super speed of sorts, so it'd be a little bit difficult / weird to have in Dead by Daylight, but I think BHVR could pull it off. And I think it's another great mythological character that they could bring into the game and do some really interesting things with. And it also, I mean, me being a little bit biased, but it also does give them a chance to bring in a Native American character, which I am dying to have in Dead by Daylight. And then our next and last original character is a werewolf. This is another character that people have been hollering for a very, very long time. We want a werewolf in Dead by Daylight. I'm almost positive everyone does. And yes, there there are some licensed werewolves that you could actually do if you wanted to go for a licensed character for some reason, but I think an overall werewolf, like a universal monster, it works really well. They can design their own werewolf with their own backstory, so they can give them their own skins, they can give it its own skins. I think it works very well in an original chapter sort of way. And, you know, not to talk about another game during this, but I think VHS does a werewolf character very well, and I think they do show that it can be done without making a werewolf overly monstery, even though it does have some like legitimate monster concepts for a werewolf, like running on 4 legs. I think they do it very well. So come on, Dead by Daylight, it's been 5 years, give us a werewolf and a vampire. And of course, our bonus chapter is a licensed chapter. I do think this chapter is likely for the anniversary event, but we will talk about that on a later video at a later date. But FNAF, Springtrap from FNAF. We've talked about this character so many times, especially when I first started making Dead by Daylight content, back when Hellraiser was about to be revealed. A lot of people, including myself, thought the teasers were pointing towards Springtrap from FNAF, but I do think this is a character that, regardless of how I feel about the franchise, which I have no interest in it, I do think this character could be very interesting in Dead by Daylight. I do think an animatronic in the game could be very interesting, and the way that the game works over on FNAF, I do think there are some really cool aspects from that game that they can pull over to Dead by Daylight and incorporate in a very interesting way that maybe adds some new gameplay mechanics. Now, I'm not saying it's going to revamp the entire game having just FNAF in the game, but I do think there are some very interesting things that can be brought over and implemented very well. Now, not to mention that this character is extremely popular in the Dead by Daylight community. There are a lot of FNAF fans in this community, and a lot of people would love to see this character in the game. And I would personally actually, even though I don't like FNAF really at all or have any interest in liking it, I do think this is a very interesting character with a very interesting backstory, and it's actually kind of scary. And so I'd love to see it translated well into Dead by Daylight. I think it can be translated well into Dead by Daylight, and I think all we can do is hope. I'd be very excited to see this character. But that's my wish list, dudes. I want to know what your wish list is. So let me know the 4 characters with a bonus character, 2 licensed, 2 original, and 1 bonus. It can be original, it can be licensed, whatever you want. Let me know what you'd like to see in 2022 for Dead by Daylight. I'm very interested to hear what you dudes have to say. We're gonna have a fantastic year on this game, making videos. I can't wait. So yeah, it's been a ride so far, and I can't wait to get 2022 actually going, and we'll be starting with the Ringu. I'm super excited for that. But that's gonna do it for me, dudes. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. My name is Tootin. I've been your host, and I'll see you dudes next time. Peace out.